6.3 trinomial squares. Objective 1. We're going to recognize a trinomial square. And this is factoring that we've seen before. It might just be a little bit of a review for you all. So key concept here is, what is a trinomial square? Well, x plus 3 squared is going to equal x squared plus 6x plus 9. Or we could do x minus 3 squared, and that's equal to x squared minus 6x plus 9. Notice that the only difference here is this one is a plus, and it matches the sign in the in our square there. This one's a minus, matches the sign in our square. Here are pieces that we need to be able to recognize our trinomial square. Two terms must be squares, so a and b must be squares, which we've worked on in the past of how to determine what squares a and b are. There must be no minus sign before a squared or b squared. So you have to have, kind of like we can't have a negative number squared, because it doesn't really work that way. And if we multiply a and b and double it, then we get the middle or third term. So when I talk about a middle term, I'm talking about the 6x right here. And the 6x can come from when I take a times b, so in my first case here, a and b would be x and 3, and times it by 2. 3 times x times 2 is going to end up with 6x. Alright, so let's look at our is this a trinomial square? And we're going to look at the 3 different steps to it. So 1, is it 2 squares? Is our a squared and our b squared? Well, we could have x is a square, right? X squared is really just x with a square. We could do plus 1 squared. So yes, it has our 2 squares to it. Is that 1 or is the x? Are either of these pieces? So part 2 asks if we have x squared, and I'm going to call that a plus 1 squared, the 1 is not a negative and neither is the x, so there's no minus sign before either one of them. And in that middle term, so if I took x, multiplied it by 1, and then times this all by 2, do I end up with this middle term of 2x? And I do. I get my 2x right there. So all 3 parts work, so yes, this is a trinomial. So let's try this again. Is this one a trinomial? 1. I have x squared. That works. I'm going to keep this sign right here, plus. Is there any way to get 11? And nothing squared is 11, so we can't end up with that, so no, this would not be a trinomial, because I failed that first rule. Alright, another one. Is this one a trinomial? So 1 would be 4a squared, and I'm going to again keep the middle, keep that first sign there, so minus, this back one would be 7b squared. So that works. 2, there's no negatives in front of the 4 or just the 7. There is the negative right there, but it's not attached to the 7, so 2 is okay. And 3, well, 4 times 7, 4a times 7b times 2. So this would be 28ab times 2, which is equal to 56ab. So yes, this is a trinomial square. Alright, so here are 4 different problems for you to try. Again, pull them apart just like I did.